Joining us now with more is the author of Blackout, Candace Owens, along with Fox News contributor Sarah Carter. Ladies, welcome aboard. Thank you very much for being with me tonight.
Thank you.
You know, we're heading into a new year, and that is usually a chance where we believe that we can set things straight and have a fresh point of view and approach. Clearly, the left has an intention, Sarah. They've got a mission. People think they won't apply it, but they do. You've got to believe the left. They're going to do what they say they're going to do, even no matter how crazy it sounds. We've got this dynamic here, especially with the dangers that we've seen, the destruction of the Defund the Police movement, and like George Gascon in Los Angeles, it's almost like horses running into a fire. How do you see this playing out in the first few months of next year?
Well, you know, I'm so grateful for the fact that Ambassador Nikki Haley did tweet that out today, and she is sending a warning shot across the bow of what's happening to our country. And I believe, Tammy, that all of this happened while we were asleep. Look, for decades, we have seen these type of policies embed themselves in our universities. We've seen them move throughout our political channels. We've seen the left, not just Democrats, and I'm not even talking about liberals. I'm talking about extraordinary communist socialist values. Now we're seeing, like in the city of Chicago, over 753 people killed in violent crimes in Chicago this year, over 440 in New York City. The people that are paying the price for this are the people in these communities, are the people that need the police the most.
Exactly.
These are lies. And Ambassador Haley is 100% right. These are hypocrites. These are liars. They're lying to the American people. And the people in these communities need the police. They need law and order. And they need people with common sense. And certainly we're not seeing that.
You know, it's interesting that Candace, Nikki Haley's tweet would make news because we don't hear many in the Republican Party or on the right being blunt about the destruction of this attitude. And as Sarah noted, you know, this is the inner city. These are urban areas. In poll after poll, African Americans, Black Americans are saying we need the police. Those are the lives that are destroyed when you withdraw law and order. What's your take on this, and how do you see this unfolding with the Democrats coming up?
You know, I think you're absolutely right that Republicans have to be more vocal about this stuff. And I think what it starts with is that they've been so trigger shy because they're so fearful of being called, you know, white and privileged, and they don't understand, and they're afraid of being called racist, right? And that's problematic. You know, the facts are the facts, and what we're seeing happening is the deterioration of inner cities, and the very people that we should be trying to protect, underprivileged people, minorities in inner cities, are suffering because of these policies. And I'll say this, you are absolutely right. The left is bold. They have no issue with saying something that sounds so insane in our post-truth society. You know, post-George Floyd, it seems as if they were able to proliferate all of their really bad policies, right? Suddenly you start seeing this Marxist ideology creep into all of these inner cities. You wake up, it feels like we're in a Batman movie, right? It's like Gotham City inside of these cities. And who's suffering with this Marxist ideology? It's the minorities. When you say things like defund the police, you're trying to set a Marxist proletariat war. You're saying, look at you, worker class. Here is your real enemy.
Candace,
it's business owners. Of course it's not.
Well, and Candace, what's fascinating is, and this is what Sarah, what you alluded to as well, is the nature of this kind of seemingly suddenly emerging, but it was just never covered by the academies were never covered by the news. What was going on at the universities were never covered. So all these young people come out being indoctrinated into those communities, right, running for office, destroying those lives. And we don't know because the media, as now they're saying they're going to do with Joe Biden, Sarah, are just going to choose to not say anything about what it is that might expose what's really going on. This is the danger to the country.
Right, Tammy, and it's what the media's failure here. Instead of doing their job, instead of telling the stories, instead of questioning the policies in cities like Chicago, in Seattle, where the chief of police, a black woman, said, I'm resigning because you're defunding our budget, and I can't even protect the people here in Seattle. When you see what happens in Portland, but when people refuse to cover the stories, and also I think Candace brought up such a significant point, when Republicans Republicans shy away from the truth.
Yep.
They don't face the truth. They don't talk about it. They don't reach out to the minority communities, and they don't realize that people in minority communities, I covered them. I lived in them. My mother was an immigrant from Cuba. I understand what people are going through in these communities. Just reach out to them. They will be there. They will tell
Sarah,
you what they need.
That fact that you even have to say that, and Candace, we've had Donald Trump, and he was the first Republican to make a genuine overture to the black community, saying, you know, what do you have to lose? This is what's important. And it seems like the Republicans will not have learned anything from that. It's the most basic thing an American president can do. Would your advice to the Republicans be to carry on in the event that Trump, for some reason, isn't able to do it himself, that attitude about governance in this country?
You know what? My advice is never to politicians, because my belief is in the people to wake up. So my advice instead is going to be to the people that are living inside of these inner cities. If you're watching this today, wake up and look around you, because you can now see in real lifetime what it is that you have to lose. You are losing your families. Your neighborhoods are being destroyed by these leftist Democrat policies and this Marxist ideology. If you don't wake up, if you don't want to learn real history, you are going to wake up one day and you're going to end up like Cuba, like Venezuela, like Russia, like Zimbabwe, like every other Marxist, ideological society before it. So it's time for Americans, the people, to have an awakening and stop relying on politicians to tell them what's going on.
Well, excellent point. And let me just say, for like the three of us sitting here, this is not the traditional panel, if you will, of who would be who people in the inner city would be listening to. The messages we have from all of us. Sarah, a first-generation American, Candace, black woman, myself, a gay woman, all of us caring about the nature of our communities and families. This is what matters. America matters. America first matters. And that starts with people in the inner city and the urban areas and the great cities of this country. Ladies, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it.